out.
And you just will go away fascinated. And Autumn, I know that one of the things that you're responsible for is membership and so on, but it's just as important to have visitors there as it is members. So because the word of mouth, once they go, they bring people in, and then because the membership is so inexpensive, $200 a year. And talk about what you get for that $200.
Well, as a member of the CAF, you get to put your hands on history. It's a first-hand chance to look and see what's really going on behind the aircraft. It's, you know, remembering firsthand and sharing with, you know, other generations what the greatest generation did for us. You know, being a member gives you an opportunity to be a part of something that we all need to be a part of. We all need to remember and to, you know, keep that going in our hearts and minds and Americans. And, you know, really, it's important to our community as a whole.
But one of the things that Stephen said, and y'all have reiterated this somewhat, is that this is almost like a floating museum spread out all across, just because it's headquartered here. So you're really accessing all of these units because they come into the air show, and you go other places and they have an air show there. And we have an air show at Dyess Air Force Base in Abilene, and of course that's a big part of the air show is the commemorative Air Force. But before we go any further, tell us a little bit about you. Start with you, and how did you get your enthusiasm for this place?
You know, actually, I'm a full-time volunteer at the CAF. I do this on a volunteer basis, 5 days a week.
Your title is Director of Special Events, and you're unpaid.
Yes, ma'am. Don't tell it to me.
That is so important to know, because with this kind of enthusiasm, and you're unpaid, it's really impressive.
Well, you find that, though, in every member, though. It's just amazing to meet people. We're members all over the country that some of us we've never even met. But yet when they come to the air show, just to see their enthusiasm about what we do, about what their unit does, they're all volunteers also. I mean, some of these pilots, mechanics have other full-time jobs, yet they're all volunteers within the CAF.
And some of those volunteers have given you their plane.
Absolutely. And it's that you'll find that enthusiasm and the passion all over the country in all of our units.
Yeah. And so you've been here then about 2 years.
About 2 years, yes, ma'am.
2 years, okay. And what about you?
Well, I've actually been living in Midland since I was 4 years old, so I've always known about the commemorative Air Force when they came here in '91, and so I've always been interested. And I joined up with the staff about 2 years ago and love it, fell in love. I love the members, I love the planes. One of my favorite things about my job is that as directors of membership, partially, I get hands-on. I get to talk to the members every day, and you really hear firsthand why these people want to be involved, why they love what we do, why they love the planes. And you know, I hear some amazing stories, and you know, at least once a week I get a phone call that makes me want to cry, because it's just so heartfelt and so important that, you know, we hear stories like that. You know, it's somebody talking about their father or their grandfather or themselves. You know, so many of our members were involved in a lot of the conflicts that these aircraft represent. Some of, you know, the women involved were there building the planes in the factories. You know, it's amazing to hear the stories. You know, and then some people have a story that happened, they saw an aircraft in, you know, 1985, and it made an impact on them. And, you know, years after the war, but that's an important story to them, and it's important to us because that's what we do. We want to bring those memories so that people who maybe didn't experience it firsthand can experience it now, you know, in our air shows and in our events and things like that. And, you know, so many people don't realize that we're so much more than just a museum. We're so much more than just air show.
Well, let me tell you a story that really backs this up. My first trip to the museum, and I was looking at everything, and there was a man that was kind of walking along with me, and I said, were you in World War II? And he said, yes, I was. And I said, did you fly one of these planes? And he said, no, I was a foot soldier, but you don't know how much I appreciate these airplanes, because that's what saved our lives. And so you know, it doesn't matter whether you were a pilot or not, and of the greatest generation, or a person that helped build the planes in the factory or whatever. But we're going to have to take a break right now and come back and continue this conversation. But this is the kind of information that we need to tell our public. We'll see you in just a minute and continue this conversation with Terry and Autumn.